Good morning. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Right when oil is trying to be fixed, or at least pricing driven down, well, overnight something happened and it causes the prices to go back up again on oil. So just as fluctuativity here in the oil market is messing with the market, among other things out there. Of course, I'll get you updated on that. Things happening nationally and locally here in terms of stories. We'll do our market watch, stocks we're paying attention to, and all of that jazz. So I'm Stephen McCullum, and let's get started with the Market Watch. Stocks fall. Stocks are falling again. Stop me if you've heard this before. Gives back a big, huge chunk of yesterday's gains on the market that happened. Dow at one point was up 1,000 points yesterday before settling, a little bit underneath that. Oil prices are up again today. Iran war obviously is continuing. That ceasefire optimism has kind of gone away. And then our top story of the day is that explosion at that Texas refinery. Yeah, not a good time for that to happen out there. Not that there ever is a good time, but right now Dow Jones is down 228 points to 45,987. S&P 500 is down 34 points to 6546. The NASDAQ is down 171 points to 21,774. Russell 2K, that small cap index, down 21 points right now to 2479. And then there's Bitcoin. Now, well, it's above 70,000, but barely 70,281 for the cryptocurrency here on this Tuesday as well. I told you oil prices back up to $100 a barrel as of this morning. Optimism fading on the Iran war de-escalation, the fire in Texas. That will be our top story here coming up in a minute, affecting the market here today. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. First one, well, Netgear. They're a Wi-Fi router and network switches company. Well, they're up 9.52% here today. The FCC, they banned all imports of consumer routers that are made abroad. They basically national security reasons is why they are doing that, which means you want a router, you pretty much have to go through Netgear here in the United States. 9.16% up based off of that ruling by the FCC earlier today as well. Then there's Apollo Global Management, asset management company, huge company, down 2.73%. Well, the company will limit withdrawals from its flagship private credit fund to less than half of requests. They did this filing with the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission. And Apollo, in that filing, said it had redemption requests that totaled to 11.2% of shares outstanding in the first quarter. Well, that exceeds the 5% cap per quarter that the fund allows. And so they filed all this. And the people aren't going to get their money back that they want to get. And so 3.03% down right now by Apollo Global Management based off of the limits there. And there's big, and that's their flagship private credit fund. There is big questions about private equity and private credit right now on if it's going to survive the market that we're in or at least be severely hampered. This is adding to that outlook here on private credit and how it's kind of not looked favorably on right now because of the way the economy is going. And then there's KKR Capital is the next stock we're going to look at, down 4.05% as of right now as well. Moody's downgraded this company, and KKR Capital is a development company. Well, here's the thing. Their bond rating is now at junk status. This is a death nail for companies, or at least not necessarily death nail, but severely hampering these companies in terms of the stock market. Moody's says the asset quality challenges has resulted in weaker profitability for this company. So officially, Moody's lowered this company's bond rating to BA1. It was a BAA3 before, which basically means BA1, junk bond rating here. So they're down 4.05% for this business development company as well here this morning. That is all over all the business sites out there that this has happened to this company as well. When we come back and look at stocks later on, we're going to look at Smithfield Foods, the packaged meat company. We're going to look at KB Homes, kind of in the news today as well, with interest rates creeping back up, with Treasury yields doing what they've been doing lately. Then Estee Lauder, some big news for them coming out today is they admitted something that's been a rumor lately, but they admitted it is in fact true. We'll talk about that coming up. But first, let's get into some stories. I told you earlier that the oil prices are back up to 100. Now, some of that is the optimism of a ceasefire in Iran has kind of gone away a little bit over the last 24 hours. But then, with the big Valero refinery going up in explosion in Port Arthur, Texas yesterday, well, obviously adding some more question marks around oil availability here in the United States. No one was injured in that explosion yesterday. Just outside east of Houston is where this refinery exploded. The mayor there of the town, though, said she had urged residents in parts of the west side of the city to stay put. Shelter in place was for a while there. The refinery has about 770 employees. It can process about 435,000 barrels of oil per day. That's just according to Valero's website. Now, do they do that much? Can they do a little bit more? That's the big question marks. The plant does refine heavy sour crude oil into gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Folks, one refinery is going to be down or at least hampered in moving forward. Look at those gas prices and oil prices again here with this news yesterday. Obviously, this explosion is affecting the oil market because of the spike in gas prices recently over that global oil supply concerns as well. And now, refinery here in the States, another one. We know the ones in California are shutting down. And now one in Texas. So keep an eye on the oil prices that right now, I'm looking at it, $100 a barrel. It's back up to here this morning on the oil markets as well. And then here's the story on how bad do you not want wind energy here in the United States? Well, the Trump administration has announced they're going to pay $1 billion to a French company, all to walk away from two U.S. offshore wind leases. That's how bad the Trump administration wants to move away from these solar and wind energy things. Obviously, the Trump administration is ramping up his campaign against offshore wind and other renewable energies. Total Energies, that's the company that is getting paid this amount. But there's a little bit of an agreement here. They've agreed to basically a refund of its leases for projects off the coast of North Carolina and New York. But then it's going to invest the money in fossil fuel projects instead. This all comes from an announcement from the Department of Interior, and they announced it all yesterday afternoon. President Trump's administration, as you know, they've tried to halt, and they have halted a lot of eco-energy solutions and took some rebates away. Well, now they've even tried to halt offshore wind construction, especially on deals that have been in place for years. Federal judges, though, have repeatedly overturned those orders to halt the wind process. Environmental groups, well, they aren't too happy with this deal that happened yesterday because they see it as an alternative way to block wind projects. One group even called it a $1 billion bribe to kill clean energy. But Total Energies had already paused its two projects after Trump was elected. He's not quiet about his signaling that these projects are going to go away and not happen as well. The company, so they saw the writing on the wall. The company pledged not to develop any new offshore wind projects in the United States. The CEO said in a statement that Total Energies renounced offshore wind development in the United States in exchange for the reimbursement of the lease fees. And they said, quote, considering that the development of offshore wind projects is not in the country's interest, unquote. Yeah, so the CEO said the refunded lease fees will finance the construction of a liquefied natural gas plant in Texas and the development of its oil and gas activities, calling it a more efficient use of capital here in the United States. So President Trump gets the deal where he gets to cancel offshore wind things that he doesn't want, and he gets some more investment here in the U.S. in something in an energy that he does want funded here as well. So kind of a double-edged sword here, depending on if you're on the green energy side or if you're just interested in investment here in the United States as well. And speaking of solar energies and speaking of batteries, etc., here in Arizona, specifically down in Tucson, there's a company called Scion Power. Oh, they expect to commercialize high-energy lithium metal battery cells for drones and other defense-related products later this year. And that's because they're focusing on the development of all-electric vehicles for much of the past decade and that's going nowhere here in the United States. The excitement, the escalation of that business, it's kind of flat right now, and sometimes degrading as companies and car companies are moving away from EVs at the large scale they were doing before. So now drone batteries is what they're moving towards. Now, this is a unique example of how companies that bet on unrealized adoption of all electric vehicles, well, they're now pivoting to different segments. Other companies have moved to the stationary storage and aerospace sectors to utilize unused battery production capabilities for EVs. And yeah, the battery and stationary storages, those are huge right now. And a lot of those companies move to that side of it. These guys going a little bit different here with, well, you've seen if you've followed anything on the Iran war or the Ukraine Russia war, how big drones are involved in this process, in the war side of things. Automakers in the U.S. have significantly pulled back from pure AVs, taking billions of dollars in write downs following slower than expected adoption of the vehicles and all the changes that have happened under the Trump administrators and even those incentives that supported those EV cars as well. These battery cells are designed for next generation drones, autonomous systems, and other mission critical platforms that do require maximum energy in the smallest, lightest possible area or footprint here. Obviously, you can't have a big, bulky battery on the top of a drone. Weight will cause it to not fly as well. And so there, down in Tucson, Scion Power making that transition later this year to for the drone side of things. And pay attention here, folks. If you deliver for DoorDash and you haven't been because of gas prices, DoorDash is doing something that I think is pure genius here. They're rolling out an emergency relief program to help delivery drivers cope with these giant rising gas prices as these fuel costs just keep getting higher and higher. I think I saw 479 over by my house over the weekend as well. The program, which is effective immediately through April 26th, well, it combines cash back incentives with weekly payments to help reduce fuel costs for active Door Dashers. So there is the first part of the initiative is a 10% cash back offer. That's on gas purchases for Dashers using the DoorDash Crimson Visa card. 10% cash back, folks. That's huge. The company also introduced weekly relief payments for Dashers who drive at least 125 miles while making deliveries. Payouts will range from $5 to $15, depending on the mileage. Dashers who reach 125 miles will earn $5. That's about $1 per gallon in savings. Those who hit 200 miles, well, they're going to earn $10. That's about $1.25 per gallon in savings. And then those who drive 250 miles, well, you're going to earn $15. That's about $1.50 per gallon, according to DoorDash there, and how they're doing this. Drivers who qualify for both benefits, you can see a total savings between $1.40 and $1.90 per gallon, depending on how much you drive with DoorDash. So DoorDash is saying we have a lot of drivers that are cutting out of this market. We need to get some drivers back on the street. And there, DoorDash finding a solution to kind of take the sting off of you driving out there and helping and working for them basically as a freelancer for that side. The other thing is that I find interesting is these companies trying new ways to get people to buy their stores, especially in this economy. And Lowe's Home Improvement, look, people aren't moving. People aren't buying houses. People aren't moving. People aren't upgrading their houses. And Lowe's and Home Depot have done a little bit of suffering, right, over these last several years because of that stuff. And Lowe's has found a new way to try to generate some money and help you out as well. Lowe's announced last week it's launching a subscription service for homeowners. Well, it's going to be the Home Care Plus plan. It offers homeowners 2 in-home service visits for per year for $99 a year. The services offered include dryer vent cleaning, HVAC filter replacement, refrigerator water filler replacement, water heater flushing, garage door lubrication, smoke detector battery replacement, and even light bulb replacement for 2 visits a year. Members can also select all services for 1 visit if not needed. To me, all of those except the garage door oiling, that confuses me and makes me confused as I watch the professionals do it because I'm not smart with that kind of stuff. Everything else there is a pretty simple thing to do. But if you don't like to do it, you're not good at doing it, $99 a year, you can get 2 visits in a year from Lowe's. So just another way that companies are looking to generate money, and you know provide a service here to homeowners as well out there. And even FedEx, right? The battle for quick deliveries. Pretty soon you're going to order something and it's going to be at your door in 2 seconds. Everybody's battling it out here for fast deliveries. FedEx is launching a same day shipping program with last mile delivery company Runway. One Rails. I'm going to struggle to say that. And they announced that right after Amazon announced it's going to start offering quicker shipping times as well. CNBC has learned all of this exclusively, and we get this from CNBC here this morning. FedEx is the latest company to join retailers' race to offer the quickest delivery and the highest convenience for the consumers. Amazon announced last week they're rolling out delivery windows of just 1 to 3 hours. We told you about that program here at McCollum on Business. Retailers like Walmart and Target, well, they've begun offering express delivery options as well to kind of compete, all to keep pace and try to beat and take a little bit of that business away from Amazon's Prime service dominance over the last several recent years. Now, Runway itself with FedEx, it's a last mile delivery software company. I'm going to struggle to say One Rail, folks. It uses artificial intelligence to optimize delivery, routing, and tracking for retailers' deliveries. One Rail said it covers nearly 99% of the U.S., has a network of more than 1,000 delivery drivers, which provides 80,000 30-minute or less deliveries per day. So with this new partnership between FedEx and One Rail, well, FedEx will be able to use One Rail's technology to allow retailers to offer that same-day shipping, all in part by utilizing the retailer's store network. Customers will be able to choose more precise delivery windows, including 2 hours or even end-of-day service, in addition to near real-time tracking as a consumer as well. So FedEx getting into that last-minute delivery service, that is just unbelievable how competitive it is. And, it cracks me up, too, because it's like, it's going to take 4 hours for something to be delivered here. Disgusting. We all get angry with it, right? It's an amazing time we live in, folks. Hey, when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep the show rolling here on this Tuesday. Market's been open for almost an hour, about 50 minutes now. We'll look at the market. It's still down, I can tell you that. Oil prices still around $105 as of right now. Optimism fading on that Iraq war de-escalation. The refinery in Texas driving the price up as well. Well, look at the market and look at some new stocks here as well, including KB Homes. Estee Lauder making some news today as well. Might be big changes coming for them. Stay with us. Come on back. McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. And we're back here, McCollum on Business on this Tuesday, folks. Well, it's been a trying day here on the stock market in the first 50 minutes and oil prices as well. Well, with all that, let's get into some fun stuff here, right? As soon as we get done here, we put this show up on demand here at Robot TV. Also, on our production company, TME Media AZ, on their YouTube page as well. Then we go right into the main event here, 8 to 10 a.m. live here at Robot TV. After that is done at 10 a.m. Bruce Cooper, by the way, joins us here today as well. Talk some D-backs with Major League Baseball's opening the season up here this week. Suns talk with 10 games left for them. A lot of things happening here in local sports. Arizona on their March Madness run as well. Bruce Cooper, 9 o'clock here today. But we're live 8 to 10 here, Robot TV. As soon as we're done, it goes online, on demand here, Robot TV, on the YouTube page as well, TME Media AZ. Free podcast system as well for those of you that listen to that. TME Sports Show on the podcast systems, or just search the main event with Steven or a main event with Dale. It pops right up for you on Apple, Apple, Spotify, Google. Look at me combine them all together, right? iHeart, your favorite podcasting system, you will find the show there as well. Follow us at TME Sports Show on X as well. Join us, communicate with us. It's a fun time having you be part of the show as well. Then you got the Pit Stop, new episode coming up tomorrow, Wednesday. We look back at Darlington and ahead to this weekend's rating. IndyCar gets underway again. They're in Long Beach this weekend as well for IndyCar. So fun show coming up for you tomorrow on the Pit Stop. On demand here, Robot TV, the YouTube page, TME Media AZ. And there is a podcast for that as well. The Pit Stop Talk, or search the Pit Stop with Steven, and it comes right up for you. There's a lot of pit stops out there, so you got to be a little bit more specific on your local podcasting systems. Follow me at the Pit Stop Talk as well on X. And work with us there as we communicate and do all of our racing type programming and thoughts on that page here as well. And then, of course, The Real Matrix on Fridays, 10 a.m. here, Robot TV, new episode every Friday. And then noon, free podcasting system. Just search The Real Matrix Angry Fan. It pops up for you. Now, that is not on the YouTube page because YouTube, well, they're a little bit more liberal with their thoughts on shows like that, but I do have that up for you on Rumble, rumble.com/users/TME Media. Pops right up for you there, The Real Matrix. For those of you that do like Rumble more than YouTube, well, we're going to start putting our sports programming on there as well. We're utilizing it for The Real Matrix. We'll put our sports stuff up on there as well. Just another option for our viewing to be out there for you to find it as well. Yes, folks, it is a good time to be around here. We're growing. We're having a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of producing of shows that we don't put out there as well. And it's just a great time to be around here as well. And we appreciate you coming along the journey with us. And with all that being said, you're watching this show right now because you want to know about the market. Let's check in with that Market Watch. Everything's down, and basically a large amount of yesterday's gains have been given back already this morning. And it's coming back a little bit. Everything like the Dow Jones was down over 200 points earlier today. Right now it's only down 169 points. So it is getting a little bit better right now. The S&P index is down 32 points right now. NASDAQ's down 198 points. The Russell 2K, that small cap index, is down 14 points right now. And then there's Bitcoin. Negative today, has fallen below 70,000, 69,910 for Bitcoin today. All based around oil prices, a lot of the Iran war de-escalation question marks. Is it going to happen? Is it not? The refinery there in Texas exploding. Oil prices are back above $100, $105 right now, as I see on my screen as well. So it is a big day where oil prices are dragging everything down after that uncertainty. And that's just the way the market's going to go right now until this Iran war situation is eventually settled. And Smithfield Foods is the first stock we're looking at here. Packaged meat stock is or packaged meat is what this stock does, I should say. 7.16% up right now for Smithfield Foods. They're better than expected results for the fourth quarter. Their earnings for continuing operations came in at 83 cents. Revenue total $4.23 billion for this company. Expectations was only 68 cents, and they came in at 83, folks. Big numbers there. Their revenue expectation was $4.14 billion. They came in at $4.23 billion. So big numbers here by Smithfield Foods. Earnings guidance also exceeded estimates. The company increased its quarterly dividend by 25%. It's now at 31 cents per share for Smithfield Foods here today. Big numbers here for Smithfield, 6.73% increase for this packaged meat company as well. Then there's KB Home out there, right? Home builders have been struggling with interest rates, having a hard time selling properties, expenses, as homes get more expensive just to build with the price of lumber and everything else out there. KB Home actually right now is down 0.74%. They were down over 2% in pre-market as well. And this is interesting on why they're down. Well, it's just because Citizens, that investment bank, they actually initiated coverage of KB Homes, and they put it as a market outperform rating, which is good news. They even said, Citizens even said that this stock is undervalued. And it's down today. Of course it is. 0.82% right now for KB Home, even with that outperform rating by Citizens this morning. And then there's Estee Lauder companies. You know, the makeup company, the cosmetic company. Well, they're down 8.49% here. Right now, they're down 8.48%. Well, they were up in pre-market slightly. Big sell-off here since the market's open. Well, they have confirmed a rumor that's been out there the last couple of days. Yeah, they confirmed that they are in discussions with Puig about a potential merger for this company. So investors are not liking that news as of right now, and they are down. They're down 8.56% right now for Estee Lauder. Big company looking to move. Looking to merge here with a big company there in Puig as well, and that is confirmed. Boom, stock down 8.69% right now. Well, let's get into a couple local stories for you as well, as I hate to leave on a negative note there on the stocks. Estee Lauder was actually barely down when I looked at it earlier. I thought maybe it'd go positive here with that news, and it went the opposite. It went 8.69% down here. So thank you, Estee Lauder, for allowing that negativity to creep into the end of the show. And the interesting finding here, federal regulators, they've now officially come out and ruled. Yesterday, it came out that pollution blowing into Arizona from Mexico, well, that's the real reason Phoenix fails to meet federal air quality standards. Yeah, they say it's not us here locally or local sources. Pollution from Mexico causing the problem. The decision is a major win, being praised by Arizona businesses. Without it, companies across Phoenix Metro, well, they'd have faced expensive new environmental rules and standards. If they, if it's deemed we do all the pollution and we don't meet the energy standards, big federal government and regulations come down on us here as well in the businesses. So them saying we're not responsible for it eases some of those regulations on our companies and things. The Arizona Chamber did say local businesses have cut air pollution by 70% since 1990. That's even after this economy, as you know here, since 1990, we have been in a absolute boom here. And 70% cut here in air pollution here by the companies. But smog drifting across the border kept pushing Phoenix's air quality numbers above federal limits. Attorney General, now that's on that side of things. So it is ruled we are not responsible for our pollution. It blows in from down south. So take that what you will. But an interesting nugget here. I didn't know about this, but I just enjoy Attorney General Chris Mays and her lawsuits. This came out in this story. KJazz, I think, gave me this story this morning. But another lawsuit by Attorney General Chris Mays that relates to this story here. Last week, she joined a multi-state lawsuit challenging the federal government's decision to rescind a 2009 finding that greenhouse gases endanger public health. Yeah, that is the legal basis for federal vehicle emissions rules. The federal government rescinded that 2009 finding, which means, in theory, that vehicle emission rules will go by the wayside. Yep. And Attorney General Chris Mays last week is joining that lawsuit to challenge that rescission of that side. So I didn't know that. I didn't know she had sued for that. She sues so much. It's so much hard to keep on top of. I get it. That's her job. I understand it. But just interesting. I found that little nugget as well from K Jazz that she had done that. So I figure I'd mention it. It's not a day that goes by we don't mention a lawsuit from our Attorney General as well. And for those of you in North Mesa out there and you live around Falcon Field, well, you know it's causing noise issues for a lot of the neighbors out in that community. A lot of noise complaints out there as well. And we got kind of a battle right now over what to do about it. This kind of cracks me up a little bit. Emails to council members show a wave of support for fees, landing and takeoff fees, from residents who view the changes as a fix to the noise caused by the planes over the neighborhoods. More than 2,300 people have signed a Change.com petition asking the city they want them to do something about the noise from the airport. The petition raises issues with flight schools at Falcon Field. They say low flying training aircraft, well, they've made it increasingly difficult for residents to enjoy peace, quiet, and safety in their own neighborhoods. What was there first, the airport or your house? That always cracks me up about that. The petition does call for student training fees and noise abatement requirements for users of the airport. So that's what they're looking for. Now, interesting enough, city officials say the decision on whether to raise or implement fees for flights at Falcon Field, well, the city says they have nothing to do with residents' noise complaints. They're going to put them in for other reasons, and I'll tell you that in a second. Falcon Field is a general aviation airport in Northeast Mesa. The airport has remained a prominent training airport since its founding in 1941. That's where pilots for Allied nations were training during World War II. Since 2006, the airport has operated as a deficit off the capital from a sale of airport loan land. Well, that money dries up here in the next couple years. How does the airport become self-efficient? They have takeoff and landing fees, like all airports do, and you have to generate, they say $2.6 million a year in fees in order for the airport to break even or make a little bit of a profit. So the homeowners want the fees because of the noise, because obviously the more you've been, the more people won't be using that airport. They can't afford the fees or don't want to pay it. They'll move elsewhere. Homeowners want that in the neighborhood, but they're saying, no, we're doing the fees because the airport needs to be self-sufficient. Interesting dynamic there, battling it out. But either way, if you fly in or fly out of Falcon Field or you're training up there or anything, well, your fees are going to go up here based off of this story and kind of what that airport needs to do moving forward as well. And I mean, that airport has exploded in terms of flights and everything. It is amazing to see in that Northeast Mesa airfield. And folks, I appreciate you joining me here on this Tuesday. Get ahead of myself again here. We'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday, 7 a.m. The main event coming up next year, of course, 8 to 10 a.m. live. Catch us on demand as well. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great night and see what the markets do and how they rebound throughout the day. If they do, we'll have that answer tomorrow, folks. See you then.